Aloha everyone, Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com coming to you with another weekend recap. So for this weekend, just want to look at four stocks that are hitting new post-signal highs since going long. Review the one big loser. I had multiple end-of-day sell signals. It wasn't too many, but still I had a handful, but all of them were small except for one. One basically got away from me, and it's actually technically not a full 100% end of day sell signal. It's a 50% sell signal, but it was the worst one of the bunch, so we'll review that one. And then I actually have two new trade ideas for the upcoming week. But really quick, let's switch from these charts. This is the Telechart version 19 is what I use intraday whenever I am trading, but for an end of day basis and for these videos, since we go over individual stocks, let's go to version 7 so we can look at our winners, the one loser, and the two new long positions giving out publicly coming up for the new trading week. All right, so in this video lesson, I was fortunate enough to be long LW coming into Friday session, but unfortunately, tight stop management knocked me out of basically over half. So this is when I went long LW. Let everybody know what I saw this day. LW was can slim quality. Have a hammer candle right around strong price support on heavier above average volume with the pocket pivot point signal. And as you can see, my balance of power indicator is growing, increasing. The very next day, it triggered and filled on my end. So I am long LW, hence this arrow that is now on this chart. LW was acting fine, but right here, I started to get a little nervous about it. So 50% of my stops were here, 50% was here. This low is 83.60, so I have half at 83.59. Following this session right here, the very next day, as you can see, 83.30, I'm now knocked out a half of LW. So for full disclosure, before this big move happened, already knocked out a half. But I also placed a stop 1 cent below this low a day. And unfortunately, on this day, right before the big up day, I was knocked out a half. Now, following this day, I put half of my sell stops here, had the final one right there, but we got the big gap up. So now following Friday session, I have a stop here, and a third stop right here. And still, with LW, it is hitting new all-time highs. There's not a big intraday reversal, so I do not have any profit targets. But logically, the next area of resistance, you could place one if you got long this stock with me, is at 100. But LW, since getting long, yes, I've been knocked out of most of it, but not everybody has that's a member of Big Wave Trading. Some people don't keep stocks as tight as me. You still have an 11% gain in a food stock. But obviously for me, it's been mitigated down to like right around 3-4%. But still, it was a big winner on Friday, so I wanted to discuss it. The next long position, actually, you'll all be familiar with all of them. So we really don't need to psychoanalyze any of these. We remember what APLT looked like when I went long on this day. The hammer candle, once again, off strong price support. It's an IPO. It's a biotech. Right now, biotechs are my favorite. IPOs always go up the list for me for top priorities. We got the heavier above average volume, the increasing pocket pivot point signal, APLT filled, and we've been off to the races since. APLT, 80% gain in a little over 1 month. Have a stop here. I have a trailing stop. Actually, I'm really tight with these. So I have one here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a sixth and final stop right here on APLT. Another one that everybody should be familiar with, that's just a long-term hold. Can't believe food stocks are doing this well. This kind of tells me that they're pushing for inflation out there, that we're going to start getting it sooner than later, because all these food stocks, I mean, they're starting to move like momentum stocks. It tells me that there's got to be inflation out there, right? I mean, I could be wrong. It's a very strong market. We could have a roaring 2020s, just like the roaring 1920s. You never know. I mean, if the Fed's friendly, if their target is to push for inflation, say it could happen. So 1, 2, 3, 4 months, 67% gain on CZZ. Nothing really has changed here with CZZ. I have a stop here, 1, a stop here, 2, a stop here, 3, 4, 5, and a 6. Once again, 6. And final one of CZZ right there. But nice 67% gain. And then the last winner that I want to discuss, because I want to keep these video lessons more short right now, Tesla. We're all familiar with Tesla. Great day on Friday. Would have loved to have day traded it in the morning with a 1-minute opening range breakout. Looked for the VWAP 9 exponential moving average retest on the 3-minute chart. Really liked what I saw, but the end of day positions are so overwhelming because there's so many of them right now, and they're triggering throughout the session. I have to put on the good to cancel sell stops right when they trigger because I like to have protection on immediately. That is taking my attention right now away from day trading good setups. And Tesla was definitely one on watch with their good delivery numbers on Friday. Elevated R vol in the pre-market, trading near the pre-market highs at the open with the VWAP right below and the other moving averages on a 1-minute chart. Beautiful. But for us, I gave this one out as a public long position back here. Not all the public long positions work, by the way. I mean, I think I gave out GFF. It hasn't failed. It's knocked me out of half of it, but I'm still in the other half. And 3 of the 4 long signals I've gotten in this name haven't even triggered yet. So that's got lucky there. But boy, this one's wanting to take its sweet time trying to move higher. We'll see if it fails or not. I've moved my final stop to 1 cent below 1956 on this name. Now, whenever I went long and gave it out, I gave this stop as the only level. But I have it a second. I always have 2 stops, always. And the next logical support level was here. That is held for now. So GFF, that's an example of one that hasn't worked, but it's still not completely dead yet. Tesla, bam. This was the signal date. Gave it to everyone. It's worked perfectly since. It just keeps on moving higher. I am going to add a profit stop, 1 cent below Friday session. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th and final profit stop right here. So only 5 stops on this one. In an era of $0 commissions, you can set those stops up if you want, and it should cost you nothing for each of those trades. For me, I got to pay $1 over at Interactive Brokers each time I go in and out of a position, which is nothing for me. So the next one I want to go over before we try to wrap up this video is CMPR. CMPR initially gave me a long signal on this session. It's a hammer candle above itself on above average volume, back-to-back pocket pivot point signals, increasing green bop. I do believe it's part of my perfect speculator scan. If not, which it might not be, it's from my Can Slim scan. It's part of the perfect speculator scan. So that's where I got this. I got this from the pre-perfect speculator scan. The long signal goes on. My good to cancel buy stop limit level at 126.26. CMPR doesn't trigger on this day because it gaps up, comes down, does not trade up and through that level. So I have no interest in it. CMPR then pulls, tries to move higher here. Now, 126.26 probably should have triggered it this day. I don't know if it triggered that day or not and it got canceled by the system due to a lack of 1% in the end of day account and or if it didn't trigger. But either way, didn't get filled. Now I have an add signal in CMPR on the 27th, 126.75. So CMPR, I have an initial long signal and I have an add signal. Now on this day here, this is the add signal. Heavier volume than the session before, max green bop in my perfect speculator scan. It doesn't trigger on this day, and it technically could have been a 3rd add signal, but it wouldn't have triggered on this day. Once again, I don't have 1% cash. However, after each session, I set my orders back up. And then on this day, I must have added it a day late. Something's wrong with my analysis here, but if you're in a chat room, you know when I went long. Either way, it's on the website too. The days that I go long, you can do a search. I have a search tab. You can look it up, search for it, and it tells you the exact days that I went long. Either way, I got filled, and I believe it would have been this day right here, and I got filled on both of the trade ideas. So both of them filled. I now have a 2% position in CMPR. The good news is following this session right here, I add a stop here. 1, 2, 3 stops on CMPR. Following Friday's session, it ran 1, it ran 2. It did not run my final one. Now my final stop is at 116.42. 116.57 was the low, so I almost got ran. But CMPR, this was what I would consider a big hit to me overall. An outlier move. This one stung a little. But that being said, what did I lose on the first trade? 7%. If we round up, 8%. What did I lose on the second trade? Let's round it up, 8%. So overall, I lost 8% on that trade. Now, let's go back once again. APLT, 80%. Nice. Tesla, 39%. Nice. CZZ, if I remember, 67%. Is my brain right? It is. Nice. Compare that to CMPR. This is why we always cut our losses 8%. Now, what if CMPR reverses and runs higher from here? Well, hey, I still have a third on. So there's still a third of the position left. If it trades below this low a day, I'll be completely out. But let's pretend that CMPR just doesn't stop here. Let's say bad news comes out that day on CMPR, and let's pretend that it sells off all the way to 100, and I don't have any stops along the way. Now, via my stops, obviously, if I have one here, and one here, I don't realize the whole 8%. On my end, I believe after I did the math, it was right around a 5.86% loss. Love it. I'll take it. Once it does this and fails this, it will be a full 6% loss on my end. But even on an end-of-day basis, this is only 8%. But I have stops because what if this thing goes down to 100 and I don't have any stops and I have to sell 2% of my position at the market? That's why I don't like it. Now, I want to remind everybody, I'm trading small right now because things aren't lined up. And let's take a look at that really quick. Okay, a quick reminder for all those watching the video, I run a very large end-of-day account. So even 1% of account capital into a trade is a very nice size amount, only pay dollar commissions to Interactive Brokers. However, I do not normally trade like this. I normally like to put anywhere from 2.5% to 5%, all the way up to 10%, and I used to go as much as 20% per amazing signal. But right now, not only do I not have any hot charts, I don't have any pretty charts with safe and great reward to risk ratios. And by great, I mean I'm looking like 5 to 10 to 1 reward to risk ratio with that hot chart setup. Not only do I not have any hot charts, the other thing that's always kept me on the right side of the market, and I always know when to push it, is when this monthly time segment volume is bullish. When this lead line is above the signal line or moving average line, this is when I go big. And if I get a pretty and hot chart during that time, that's when you see me put the 5, 10, 15, 20% per position. But if I don't have any hot charts and my monthly time segment volume has been bearish the entire trend since October of 2018 in the SPY, and even my preferred index since June of 2018, yeah, holding a lot of different positions. And that's why you're hearing me talk about 1 and 2% per trade. So now let's go over the 2 new long signals or trade ideas that I have for the upcoming week. The first one I want to go over is actually a less risky trade idea. UCTT. Now, I'm already long UCTT. You see that white arrow here? This was a long signal for me. I got long the next session. There has been subsequent add signals since then. One here, one here. I don't know, but one of these two did not fill due to lack of funds available when it triggered. But either way, I have a 2% position in UCTT, and now I've got another signal, so it might make it 3%. That being said, I've gotten multiple signals, and UCTT hasn't done anything. On top of that, the IWM is getting a little rocky short term. The SPY getting a little rocky. So if the market decides to pull back, these are going to pull back with it. But for now, UCTT is giving me another add signal, and I'm going to go for it. What I have here is a hammer, kind of a reversal price bar off a strong recent price support, these lows right through here, and the 50-day moving average on heavier above average volume with an increase in green BOP. What I do not like is that BOP overall is falling, but it did increase from the session before. My game plan on this trade for UCTT is a good to cancel buy stop limit order at 23.47, and I only want it up and through that price level. If it gaps up and it pulls back into it, I don't want it until the bid asking price is below that level. Then I will call back on the trade. If it trades up and through 23.47 and I get filled, my first cut loss level, it's all splitting hairs. But for me, it's going to be this low because it's slightly lower than this low. And since there's no huge volume bars on any down moves, I'm using this low as my first stop. This will be the second stop for me, and this will be my final stop. And it's splitting hairs, so I believe it's this low right here. So on this trade, I would have 1, 2, 3 stops. You might just want to have one stop here. And or, like I always recommend people, if you decide to go in with size, here's your uptrend line. Notice how it kind of goes across, kind of goes across these highs here, and then it travels up these lows there, a close below that uptrend line, and you'll know to get out of the position completely. But this one's less at risk because we have less inherent risk for a potential reward. And I always like to look at what the previous entire measured move is, but I like to be honest with myself and say, okay, we're probably not going to get that again, but heck, if I could get a 50% move compared to a potential loss of around 10%, right, give or take, I'm looking at a 5-to-1 reward risk ratio. I got to take that trade. And the final long position, that public trade idea for the upcoming week, is personally my favorite, but it's risky. It's SRPT. This is a biotech stock. It's in my perfect speculator scan. It's in my pre-perfect speculator scan. Had really good news. Big gap up on huge volume. Pull back, another gap up on huge volume, and no volume on the sell-off. SRPT, according to FinViz, has 21% of its float short. So, if the shorts are trapped here, I would obviously expect a move similar to this, 86%. But let's be honest with ourselves. We might not get that, so let's use this move here, 38%. Now, for that 38%, I have to risk down to here. That's 3%, 4%. So we're looking once again at right around almost anywhere from a 5 to 10 reward to risk ratio. It's right around 8-to-1, and it's even less than that because this will be my first stop level. So the game plan with SRPT, remember, it's in my perfect speculator scan. It's a biotech, hot industry group, 21% of its float short, and it's held the gap up post good news. The game plan here is, first off, the signal. I just happen to see it in my perfect speculator scan, and then because I see max green bop like this, my balance of power is this maxed out, and it's already in my perfect speculator scan. I clearly know SRPT is a biotech because I've been trading forever. I know this stock. Automatic on my radar. And here's the thing. If volume would have been lower than Thursday, probably don't take this signal. But volume is heavier than Thursday session. So candle, bullish candle off of the strong price support, heavier volume, max green bop. The game plan with SRPT is to buy it up and through 131. My good to cancel buy stop is at 131.01. My limit will be at 131.01. Front run me. I haven't even placed the orders for either one of these trades yet. UCTT, SRPT. As a member of Big Way Trading, you get to do this every day. I'm telling you the exact trade I'm going to take. I'm going to tell you exactly where my stops are, and you get to front run me because I don't send the orders in right now. I do when I have cash available, but I don't even have 1% available again for the new session on Monday. It was a red session on Friday. We had bad Middle East news. We had a bad non-manufacturing ISM number. I think I wrote manufacturing ISM number on my website, but either way. And still, the market gave me plenty of signals, and the low of the day was at the open. So put 2 and 2 together. So if SRPT triggers and fills, the first cut loss level is 126.69. 50% of my stops are here. My final stop is right there, 123.43. I believe it's this low right there. Absolutely. And you can use this as your only stop level if you want. You could use the gap fill as your stop level. I'm just telling you exactly what I am doing on Monday. All right, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like, thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I'll always respond. Had a great